Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for.
Good afternoon.
My colleague Annetta will be muting everybody for the time being until you go into the breakout rooms, and you'll have the opportunity to network directly with the panelists here today. But thank you for joining us. We'll get started in just a moment. We'll let everybody have the opportunity to join us first, as we've only just hit 2:30. But thank you everybody again today for joining us. This is a really unique opportunity for you to network directly with industry leaders within the manufacturing sector in the Midlands area. So thank you for joining us. Perfect, so we have just hit 2:31, so we'll get started with today's event. So again, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the first Meet Britain's Makers event for the Made Futures Live exhibition. So from the 22nd to the 26th of March, we will be hosting 2 events a day. The first, a masterclass, which took place this morning already, Opportunities for Generation X, which you can watch back on our YouTube channel. And the second, a panel discussion for manufacturers, industry leaders within the Midlands and Yorkshire area. And all of these events are aimed at offering advice to job seekers with the help of real life industry leaders. So today we have a star-studded lineup of manufacturers and training providers from the Birmingham, Coventry, Warwickshire and Worcestershire region. We have representatives from companies and organisations such as Big Bear Plastics, South City College Birmingham, ADI Group, KUKA Robotics and Magna Exteriors. In a moment, our panellists will introduce themselves. But first of all, I would just like to go through the format of today's event. So once our panellists have all introduced themselves and their businesses, we'll then go to the panel discussion where I'll ask our experts a series of questions related to working in manufacturing within the Birmingham, Coventry, Warwickshire and Worcestershire region. We'll then go to breakout rooms where you can speak directly with these employers. So make sure you have in mind your name, first of all, make sure you remember your name, and just let them know why you would be a good fit for a manufacturing role within this sector. So first, let's hear from our panelists. I'm going to hand you over to Emma Hockley now, who's going to introduce herself and her business.
Thank you, Yasmin. Good afternoon, everyone. It's really great to be here taking part in an event such as this, and I'd just like to congratulate the Made in the Midlands team for putting something like this together and wish them all the best with it. My name's Emma Hockley. I'm the Managing Director at Big Bear Plastic Products Limited. We're a privately owned company based in Worcester, in Droitwich. We specialise in the design, the development and the manufacture of quite large technical plastic moulded components. Products such as moulded roof panels for JCB diggers, bumpers for motorhomes and caravans, seat shells for aircraft, a lot of technical product, but we also do a lot of children's play equipment as well. We use a process called vacuum forming to make those kind of parts. We also offer a compression moulding of lightweight composite materials, and we use that to manufacture lightweight interior trim components such as headliners and door trim panels. Thank you for having me today, and I'm really looking forward to meeting you all, and I hope you'll come and see us at the Made Futures exhibition as well.
Great, thank you for that, Emma. Next, I'll pass you over to Jeff, who will introduce himself as one of our panelists today. Oh, sorry, Jeff, you're on mute.
Okay, hi. My name's Jeff Knoll. I'm CEO of KUKA Robotics. As this kind of event it is, I thought I'd just quickly talk to you about my background. I left school at 16 to do a technician's apprenticeship and did some part-time study while so doing. I undertook a number of global roles before joining KUKA in 2009. I'm now CEO of UK and Ireland. KUKA has 14,000 employees in 40 countries. It's a 3 billion euro organization. We supply robots and automated solutions, primarily serving automotive tier 1, but also nuclear medical for robotics. We're involved in cobots. We're also involved in robotics within the entertainment industry. What do I like about my role? Really quickly, firstly, the tech. I really enjoy the technology associated with robotics and everything therewith. I so enjoy the people I meet. And finally, I like the travel. It's pretty tricky of late, but the year before last, I took 108 flights. Lucky to go all over the world and meet people from various cultures, and it's a fantastic sector in which to operate. So I would urge you to head towards the Made Futures exhibition and find out a little bit more. Thank you.
Great, thanks for that, Jeff, and thanks for letting us know a little bit more about your background too. Thank you. So next, I will pass over to Rebecca, who will also introduce herself as one of our panelists today.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Becky Waterfield, and I head up the employer engagement team at Southern City College, Birmingham. For those of you who don't know us, we're the 5th biggest college in the UK with 8 campuses across Birmingham, including our state-of-art engineering centre, which is in our Longbridge campus on the old MG Rover site. And it's really exciting to see engineering manufacturing being brought back to Longbridge. Here today, we actually representing a number of engineering manufacturing companies who have got live vacancies, and we're really delighted to be able to promote 27 engineering apprenticeship vacancies with a national company this morning on our microsite and through our exhibition. So we're really keen to work with you to help you to apply for those opportunities. And really help develop you through your apprenticeship or through training. The ethos here at the college is no matter what your starting point, we will help you reach your ambition and your goal. So look forward to meeting you all in the breakout rooms, and please do visit our virtual exhibition.
Cheers, thank you for that, Rebecca. And next, Tanya, please can you introduce yourself?
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tanya George, and I'm the HR business partner at the Exteriors division of Magna. Magna is a technology company, and it's one of the world's largest suppliers to the automotive. And we have over 158,000 global employees focused on delivering superior value to our customers through innovative processes and world-class manufacturing. In 2020, we were named World's Best Employers by Forbes. And this week, we're excited to be a part of Made Futures exhibition. So please visit our stand, and you will be able to see our job opportunities, internship, graduate, UK and global, as well as gain free access to our Magna virtual showroom if you apply for any vacancies with us this week.
Great, thank you for that, Tanya. And last but certainly not least, James, please can you introduce yourself as one of our panelists today?
Thanks, Yasmin. So my name is James Stockwith. I'm one of the group directors for the ADI group. I think worthwhile saying just as a kickoff, we're one of the patrons of Made in the Midlands, and extremely proud to be so, and also proud to be part of this event and allowing us to promote a bit about ourselves, but much more importantly, jobs for the next generation of engineers, which is the sector that we heavily inhabit. So we're an engineering business, predominantly process engineering, and our biggest sector is the food and drink manufacturing sector. We're Birmingham based. We're a privately owned company. We're of a reasonable size, not in the hundreds of thousands, but we've got 700 engineers in our business, and we continue to grow at a fairly prodigious pace despite all that the world is currently throwing at us. What we're looking for is our next generation of engineers into our business, but much more than that, actually inspiring the next generation of engineers. Unlike Jeff, I didn't start through an apprenticeship or leave school at 16. I'm a mechanical engineer, and I went through the university route. But one of the bits as I sort of sit to the top of our business, one of the pieces that I'm utterly passionate about is apprenticeships actually in our case pre-apprenticeship. So our scheme starts at the age of 14, and we're heavily embedded with a school promoting our pre-apprenticeship. So I really welcome talking to hopefully some of you in a bit, but equally to welcome you to our stand. I think we're not stand number 1, but I've got a feeling that's alphabetical rather than anything else. So anyway, we're still stand number 1. Thank you.
Cheers for that, James. So guys, before we head over to the panelists, ask them some questions, just one thing I'd like to mention first of all is that you can all get involved in the Golden Banner competition today. So amongst the stands at the exhibition, there is a golden banner somewhere, and if you find that golden banner and you post it to your socials using the hashtags #MadeFutures and #1KJobsChallenge, you are in the chance of winning a Moleskine smart book. A Moleskine smart book. So a Moleskine smart book is essentially where you can take notes, writing down on a piece of paper, and they'll transfer to your phone. So a really useful thing, especially if you're studying or getting into a new role. So definitely take part in that if you are able to. So thank you to all of our panelists today for introducing themselves. So we've got some great speakers here today, all who are key figures within their organisations. But now I'd just like to ask some questions to the panelists that would definitely benefit you guys. So make sure that you've got a pen and paper, taking any notes for this part especially. So first of all, I just wanted to ask James something, if that's okay. So James, what skills do you believe the industry is looking for, particularly in the sector you work within?
So for our sector, the hands-on skills of engineering, the core skills that you would learn in a traditional apprenticeship, that's what we're short of. And I think what we're trying to, well, I don't think I know, what we're trying to do is a bit of myth busting, that engineering is a dirty industry, or perhaps it's low paid. It's neither. And you know, just to get that out there, you know, for the hands-on core skills, so a welder, a fabricator, an electrician, in our sector, those sort of roles are typically at lawyer money, and I'm not sort of holding back there, because these are some of the myths we need to bust. And you know, people who are passionate about what they want to do, but want a career in what is a fantastic industry sector, those are the sort of people that we're looking forward to talk to.
Yeah, definitely. And how about you, Jeff? You know, what skills do you believe the industry is looking for within the robotics sort of section of the industry?
I'm kind of like James as well, because we build systems as well. Specifically at Hales Owen is where we build our systems, and we are always looking for those traditional skills, those that James listed, plus bench fitting as well. So we're always looking for those kind of skills. At the other end of the spectrum, we are also looking for simulation skills, so we can simulate an environment and create a digital twin, virtual commissioning, offline programming. It's those sorts of skills which we miss. So for us, our needs are quite dichotomous. On one hand, very traditional, other hand, very, very cutting edge. Yeah,
for sure. Okay, great. Thanks for that, Jeff. And now I'd just like to ask a question to Rebecca, who is from South City College, Birmingham. So, you know, Rebecca, how can people break into the industry to develop a career in manufacturing, such as the ones that Jeff and James were just talking about a moment ago?
I'm passionate about apprenticeships, and I'm sure echoing James and other people's comments, an apprenticeship is an excellent way to start a career within this sector, really learning those base level skills that both James and Jeff mentioned that you need to have to start with. But with the way the apprenticeships are now, you can go straight up to degree level. So there's nothing to stop you progressing in your career with the support of a college or training provider to get those more specialist and future-proofed skills. I think the engineering manufacturers I speak to say that actually future-proofing their business and their workforce for emerging technologies is really important. And by working with your apprenticeship to go up through the levels, you'll help with those emerging technologies to gain the skills you need to be able to get into the sector. If you don't feel that you're ready, or if you're not quite there with an apprenticeship, come and talk to your local college. There will be lots of different programs where you can put on for support. It might be that you just need a bit of confidence boost. It might be that you just need some lower level skills to be able to access an apprenticeship. We're here to help, and that's really important. Come and talk to us.
Yeah, definitely. And as Rebecca mentioned, you can visit the South City College Birmingham stand at the Made Futures virtual exhibition if you head to the Skills Hall. So you can have the opportunity to speak with a member of staff there as well. So thank you for that, Rebecca. So Emma, the same question to you really. Is there any opportunities within Big Bear Plastics specifically that will allow people to sort of make that break into the manufacturing sector and develop their career from there?
Yes, I think so. I think, you know, in terms of the skills that we're looking for and the best way to break into manufacturing, I think so much of it comes down to attitude and just trying to get in. And I would echo what Rebecca said about apprenticeships. And there certainly is those academic qualifications that one can do. And to try to get a technical qualification at school or college or university. But I think, and like the guys were saying, you know, it's about making engineering an attractive career choice, and it is that, and it is a highly skilled job that, you know, we can aspire to have a career in making things, you know, things that are made all around us. And I think sometimes we take that for granted a little bit. And I think we need to move away from that that phrase that, oh, if you don't do well at school, you'll end up in a factory, because, you know, we've got some amazing people in our factory. And there's a lot of skills that are required to be here in it. And it's not just about being a qualified engineer either. In terms of project management skills, leadership skills, and leadership skills doesn't necessarily mean from being a director level. You can be a leader at any level in the organization, and I think there's lots of different elements to working in manufacturing. It's not just about necessarily operating a machine, which is obviously an important part, but there's a whole infrastructure around that as well: marketing, sales, finance. So there's lots of different elements to it. It's not just manufacturing, is not just making. It's all the bits that support it as well.
Yeah, most definitely. And I agree with you there, Emma. I think one of the main reasons we created this project for Made Futures is to promote manufacturing as a career of choice, because there's not just, you know, those opportunities, as Emma mentioned, in physically using a CNC machine or using a machine elsewhere within the business. It's finance, it's IT, it's marketing, it's design, it's projects. There's lots of things going on. And as Rebecca mentioned earlier, with apprenticeships, many apprenticeships offer the opportunity to work with all of these departments and then find really where you fit. So definitely take in what Emma and Rebecca just mentioned there, and what Jeff and James mentioned just earlier. But now I have a question for Tanya. So Tanya, what qualities does Magna look for in their candidates when they're bringing on a new employee?
That is a really good question. Thank you, Yasmin. So in addition to what's already been said, there is an increasing focus for behaviors and attitude in every candidate, and core skills. And those, it will include ability to think strategically, to think outside the box, work ethic that a candidate will possess, independence, reliability, ability to communicate. It's very important to be able to work as a part of the team. And I think in the manufacturing world, I hope the panel will agree with me, it's also things like curiosity and resilience, but being polite and being honest. So being able to develop relationship within the business and the relationship with the customers and maintain those relationships is very, very important. So I think that's what we also look for, in addition to the skills, the key skills that potential employees would have.
Yeah, most definitely. Thanks for that, Tanya. And just, you know, we've got sort of different businesses as our panelists today. So all of our panelists from different sort of sectors within manufacturing. So the same question to you, Jeff, you know, what qualities does KUKA Robotics look for in their candidates when they're taking on new employees?
Well, probably to mirror what Tanya's just said as well, because and funnily enough, I mean, we're working on a project with Magna at the moment in the northeast, and everything that Tanya has just stated is kind of everything that's made the project work. So it's all of those key skills. It has to be honesty. It has to be an open mind. It has to be respect for one's customer and one's partners. Attitude is so important compared to academic achievements. You can have a CV that looks glittering, but if you haven't got the right attitude, you're wasting your time. So it's all of those key skills, and they're pretty obvious skills, and they're very basic, but they're still fundamental to what we look for.
Yeah, most definitely. And guys, for everybody who has the Made Futures book to hand, or has received it from signing up to the exhibition, if you take a look at the top tips from industry leaders, they actually mentioned that one of the biggest things when signing up to within any business, within any role, whether it be manufacturing or anywhere else, enthusiasm is 70% of the role. So as long as you can show that enthusiasm and willingness to learn, I'm sure the opportunities will come your way. So James, this question's for you. Why do you believe manufacturing makes for a good career? Because I know the ADI group, they do lots of apprenticeships and you do lots of upskilling within your business. So, why do you believe manufacturing would make for a good career?
I think it's the diversity of what the sector, manufacturing is just huge. I don't know, and I'm not going to profess to know how large it is, whether in terms of number of employees across the sector or indeed its turnover, but it's a massive part of the UK economy. And I think as we've gone through different recessions, and perhaps for those of us who've been around for a couple of years, maybe a couple of decades of working in the manufacturing / engineering sector, it has significantly changed, all for the better, I'd hasten to add. If you'd asked 20 to 30 years ago about manufacturing, or specifically engineering, you might have got a fairly bleak or black picture. Manufacturing's disappearing abroad, engineering's in decline. It was actually at that time, that was when I was inspired to get into engineering for a whole variety of reasons, but not least because it wasn't very true then, and it most certainly isn't true now. Manufacturing is alive and kicking. I think through the last year of pandemic, so many people are looking towards onshoring or bringing manufacturing back to the UK, not shipping it somewhere else. And that can only be a great opportunity for anybody wanting to work in this sector. And absolutely, Tanya, it's not just the engineers, it's the whole panoply of opportunities and jobs that sit into this great sector. It's thriving, it's growing, it's well paid, it's not dirty, it's not low skilled, it's a superb sector to be in. And whatever sector that might be, food and drink manufacture, automotive, aerospace, whichever sector you fit into, there are huge numbers of opportunities, and it's a thriving, exciting place to be. And as a mechanical engineer, I love it. I don't particularly get hands-on too much these days, but it doesn't stop being completely passionate and passionate about our sector and passionate about the opportunities that are within it.
Yeah, great. Thank you for that, James. And Rebecca, what say you? As a training provider, why do you believe manufacturing would make for a good career?
I don't know if I can say it much better than James. It's on the up. It's a boom sector. The level of interest we've got of candidates for full-time students, we've got well over 300 in education and engineering that are all, majority are moving into work. Companies I speak with are all going through growth. Yes, there has been a little bit of a wobble, shall we say, with COVID, and that's been more about new ways of working and adapting to social distancing within the workplace, but it's a growth sector. Most companies I go into I would eat my dinner off the floor, because they are clean, they are sparkling clean. It is not dirty little workshops anymore. Ignore that. And there is such a big push for manufacturing to really get big again in the UK and in Birmingham. It's one of the cornerstones of our economy, and it's just getting bigger. And I think it's so exciting with all the emerging technologies coming in, with robotics, with automation, with digital skills. There's going to be ever changing, and I think your career could really take off and go in so many different directions in this sector.
Great, thank you for that, Rebecca. So a really good response there as well as from you, James. So we've got 10 more minutes left for questions to our panelists, and this is a question that I'd like to ask you all, but we will start with Jeff first. So, Jeff, what top tips would you offer to our job seekers here today in regards to employability skills?
I would probably suggest the key thing is to keep an open mind. It may be the case that you've got a clear idea of where your career is taking you, irrespective of what point in time of your career you're at. I would probably say keep as open mind as you possibly can be. I had absolutely no idea I would be involved in robotics 20 years ago. It's been a fortunate happen chance I've ended up where I have. So what I'd probably say is keep an open mind and be prepared to constantly improve yourself to make sure you're always the better person. I'm currently doing a course. I was on it this morning. So I'm constantly looking at improving myself as an individual, and that's probably the bit of advice I would purport. Keep your mind open and keep improving yourself, and keep an open mind, because it's wonderful to think that. One thing that depresses me, the inverse, is to know what you're doing for the next 20 years. That would absolutely drive me bananas. I have no idea what I'm going to be doing next Tuesday, let alone in 20 years' time. So keep that mind open and reskill yourself regularly, and just enjoy the ride. Because as a final point, your career isn't as long as you think it's going to be, especially at my age. James mentioned decades a moment ago. I can empathize with that, my dear fellow. Your career's over really, really quickly. So enjoy the ride, enjoy every day.
That's some brilliant advice. Thank you for that, Jeff. And as Jeff mentioned, I think that's a really important thing to mention, that learning doesn't just stop at university. You can continue to learn, you can continue to do courses and upskill yourself. And what Jeff mentioned is exactly that. Continue doing that and enjoy the ride. It is really important. And like attending this event today for you guys, if you attend 2 events this week, you will receive an employability certificate that you can mention on your CV. So that's just another way that you can promote the fact that you are willing to learn and willing to join events like these in order to find out more about what it's like working in manufacturing. So thank you for that, Jeff. And the same question to you, Emma. What top tips could you offer to the job seekers in terms of employability skills?
I think my biggest tip to anyone going for any job in any sector would be energy, enthusiasm, problem solving. Just come at it with positivity and energy and want to be there, and I think you can do well. I mean, for me, my background is not manufacturing. I've come from a completely different world, and what I'm learning is how you can transfer skills from one world to another. I'm probably from the polar opposite of manufacturing. I was at Harrods for 8 years, and I had senior roles there, and I went from being sort of knowing what I was doing in that environment to really kind of starting back down at the bottom again in manufacturing. So I've had to ask loads of questions and not be afraid to ask those questions and to sound stupid. But I suppose the more that I have worked in manufacturing, the more I'm realizing how much of what I have learned through being somewhere like Harrods, which is a global business and very fast paced, very high pressured, very high standards, all of that translates into running a manufacturing company where customer service ultimately is what you're delivering, and working with people. And I think there's obviously basic stuff that we need to remember when we're looking for work, in terms of your appearance, being accurate with your applications, all of that kind of stuff. But I think ultimately it is come back to attitude and to enthusiasm and energy.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for that, Emma. And James, how about you? What would your top tips be in terms of employability skills?
I think it sounds like we're all on a similar page here, and I can't really add anything more to what Emma or Jeff has said. Agility, being able to transfer skills from one business to another business, absolutely. Enthusiasm, there's a saying, you can train for skills, but you can't train for enthusiasm. You know, there are certain things you just is a must. And being enthusiastic, being passionate, wanting to be there, I think you just said there, Emma, yeah, that gets you a huge way. You might not have all of the skills required, but you probably have quite a lot of them. That's a big way, a big step forward. And to Jeff's point, if you haven't pigeonholed yourself and you have kept yourself open for other opportunities, it's a positive way forward. And I think I always look back to something that when I was starting, my dad said to me, try and find something you really want to do and try and find something you're really good at. And actually that's probably stood me in quite good stead, because what I do, I think I'm okay at, but I really want to do it. And that's, you know, halfway there is pretty good for me.
Yeah, definitely. And that's some really good advice, James, a good morale booster, especially for those, you know, if you're straight out of university, or, you know, this is a sector that you think I'd love to work in, but I don't think I have the skills. You know, it's a good confidence boost to know that just wanting to be there is the first step. So thank you for that, James, and to Emma and Jeff for their advice too. And now we'll go to Rebecca. So, you know, Rebecca, anything to add in terms of those employability skills from a sort of training provider's perspective?
I think a lot of it's covered. It's attitude. Attitude is king. I always say to candidates that are applying to apprentices with the college, you're at work more than you're at home. You've got to love the job. There's got to be aspects of the job that you're passionate about. Everyone has bad days at the office, and I think we can all reflect on that. But you've got to be able to finish the week or finish the day and go, I did a good job. I feel like I gave something good to that employer, to my role. Do your research. I think a lot of these are basics, but do your research on the company, do your research on the job role, and then look at your transferable skills, look at your CV. If the job description is asking for somebody with a good communication skills, how can you demonstrate that? You will have got communication skills because you will have been part of clubs at school, or you might have friends that you go out with, that you communicate with. Those are all transferable skills, and sometimes it's difficult to recognise your own skill set and just try and reflect on yourself and what you're good at. And don't be afraid to ask the silly questions. As Emma said, there's no such thing as a silly question. Keep asking until you're confident you've got all the answers you want.
Great, thank you. Thank you for that, Rebecca. Really good answer there. And just finally, before we head out into our breakout rooms today, Tanya, how about you? You know, what employability skills, do you believe the job seekers here today could really benefit from?
And another quick question. I was actually talking to one of our senior engineers before I joined this panel today, and he gave me a very good answer, so I'm going to borrow it. And from his point of view, it's not about one or two key skills that you need to have to join this industry. To have a dynamic and a successful career in this industry, which you can really enjoy, you need to have a multitude of skills. Emma has a fantastic story coming from Harrods and running the business, and everyone today in the panel has a story and has a multitude of skills that they brought to the manufacturing, and it's that makes it more enjoyable and successful. And it's also important to say that hard work makes a really huge difference when you want to succeed.
Great, thank you for that, Tanya. And thank you to all of our panelists today for answering the questions. Some really great insight there from key figures within businesses. So I hope you guys benefited from that, took some notes, and hope that they help you when you find your career within the manufacturing sector. So now I'll pass you over to my colleague Annetta, who will organize you all into certain breakout rooms. And in these breakout rooms, our panelists here today will reintroduce themselves, just let you know who they are again, their name and their business, and then they will go around the room asking you all your name and why you would be a perfect fit for the manufacturing sector. So make sure you have your answers at the ready. So now it's over to you, Annetta, to organize the breakout rooms.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us. Thank you all the panelists for such a great advice. It was really good to listen to you all. So I have the breakout rooms ready. So what we're gonna do now, when I press open all rooms in the front of you, in the middle of your screen, you will have the information which breakout room you will be joining. As you join that room, please stay in there. You will have 10 minutes with one of the panelists, and after 10 minutes, I will change the panelists, so we will have the opportunity to speak to the different panelists, and I will do it all for you. So enjoy your time and make sure you ask some good questions and get some great advice. See, and on the end at 15:30, I will bring us all back into this room again. See you all in 25 minutes.
Bye.
Bye. Please follow the instruction on the screen and you will be able to unmute yourself in the room to chat. Everybody back.
Great. So I just hit record again. So anybody who would like to watch this event back, you can watch it back. It won't include the breakout rooms, but it will include the Q&A section, this part here now, and our panelist introduction. So, and it will be available on YouTube later today to watch back. So how long left on the timer now, Annetta?
So everybody are back in the room now. Yasmin, we've got everybody back.
Perfect. Great. So hopefully you guys found some benefit in that, whether you be one of our manufacturing members or a job seeker here today. And I'd just like to thank you all massively for joining us. Firstly, to the industry leaders who've joined as panelists, taken their time out of their busy days to talk to you guys here today. To everybody of all the manufacturers of our members who have signed up to the event today to also offer their advice to join into the breakout rooms and talk to you there as well. Thank you to you guys. And of course, to the job seekers who have joined us all today to get work within the manufacturing sector, which is the aim. It's to promote manufacturing as a career of choice. And the fact that you guys are here today and are interested in working for a sector is very much in need of skills. We do very much thank you for joining us. So in addition to that, if you do attend 2 events like these, so we've got them happening throughout the rest of the week. Masterclasses in the morning at 11:15 a.m. and Meet Britain's Makers events at 2:30 p.m. every day, except for Friday, as Friday is both Meet Britain Makers events. So there's one in the morning and there's one in the afternoon. But if you do attend 2 of these, you will receive an employability certificate. And in addition to that, if you don't have time to attend 2 of them, you can watch them back and fill in the questionnaire to receive that employability certificate, which can be mentioned on your CV. So definitely watch them back or watch the other events, take part in the other events if you are available. In addition to that, I mentioned it earlier on this afternoon when we started this event, there's a golden banner competition. So make sure you have a look around the stands at the virtual exhibition, find the golden banner and be in the chance of winning that Moleskine Smart Book, because it's going to be a really good tool, especially starting out in a new role. I know I would very much be taking part if I was able to as well. So other than that, guys, I'd like to thank you again to the panelists, to Emma, to Jeff, to James, to Tanya, and to Rebecca for joining us today. Thank you very much for taking your time out of the day. Other than that, we have the Student and Graduate Employability Masterclass taking place tomorrow at 11:15 a.m. So make sure to sign up to that as well if you can. And for Meet Britain's Makers in the afternoon from the West Yorkshire region, we'll have manufacturers from the West Yorkshire region at that event. But for now, thank you again for joining us, and we hope you have a successful week at the Made Futures exhibition. Cheers, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Yasmin.
No problem. Bye-bye.
Okay, everybody, bye.
Thank you very much.